Dr. Anthony Fauci is a notorious liar and someone who pays to have puppies tortured. This is not an exaggeration. This is a true statement. You may recall back in his congressional hearing in July when he had an interaction with Dr. Rand Paul. We have a report here from the New York Post where they say Fauci, knowing it was a crime to lie to Congress. Sorry, this was Ron Paul speaking directly to Fauci. I could have found the clip, but I didn't have time. Do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed the NIH never funded gain-of-function research and move on? Said Rand Paul. And Fauci replies to this, Senator Paul, I've never lied before the Congress. I do not retract that statement. The paper that you're referring to is judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being of gain of function. But Paul broke in to say that according to the report, he cited the scientists at the Wuhan lab took an animal virus and increased its transmissibility to humans. And he says, you're saying that's not gain of function. And Fauci says that is correct. Now, I'm just a layman, but I understood gain of function meant taking an animal virus and increasing its transmissibility to humans. And so Fauci saying that's not gain of function seems to be a lie. And Fauci then explodes at Rand Paul, which is the obvious way you can tell that he's definitely telling the truth. Senator Paul, you do not know what you're talking about. And quite frankly, I would say that officially, you do not know what you're talking about. And all of the media went, oh, see, Dr. Fauci says that Rand Paul doesn't know what he's talking about. But the thing is, Rand Paul's a doctor as well. He's an ophthalmologist, which isn't obviously the same field, but he's not someone who is just a total layman like I am. And he, Rand Paul said, this definition of gain of function involves increasing transmissibility. And that's what happened at the Wuhan lab. How you can say that is not gain of function, it's a dance. You're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the globe because of the pandemic. Well, I don't know that it's Fauci that's responsible for this, but I do know that he definitely lied because the National Institute of Health, the NIH, came out and released a statement saying, yeah, Fauci was full of it. As the Federalist reports, Rand Paul had challenged Fauci, saying the NIH, does not now has not ever funded gain of function research through their $600,000 grant to the Wuhan Institute of Virology through EcoHealth Alliance, a New York-based nonprofit. And Rand Paul was told that he was entirely incorrect. 5 months later, during which new details would emerge to show that Fauci lied and would lie again, the NIH is now seemingly contradicted the director of the agency's National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. So NIAID. NIAID, presumably it's pronounced. In a letter to the House Committee on Oversight and Reform, NIH Principal Deputy Director Lawrence Tabak contended EcoHealth failed to comply with the mandated report as stipulated by the grant would have triggered the supplemental review process for gain-of-function research. The research long championed by Fauci, who wrote in its defense as worth risking a pandemic over, which is a really ironic thing to have taken a risk over, was deemed so dangerous by the US government that it was banned from 2014 to 2017. That was during Obama had banned this. The ban was lifted after the Department of Health and Human Services developed enhanced protocols to evaluate grant proposals under the Potential Pandemic Pathogens Control and Oversight Framework. Money flowed from the NIH to the WIV, the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which the US State Department claims was engaged in collaborative work with the Chinese military from 2014 to 2019, during the first 3 years of which gain-of-function funding was prohibited. So there we go. We know that it happened. The research plan was reviewed by the NIH in advance of the funding, and NIH determined that it did not fit the definition of research involving health pathogens, Tabak wrote. Before elaborating that over the course of the research, new findings were made that would have mandated further review of whether it met the gain-of-function standard, and EcoHealth failed to report this finding right away as kept hidden as required by the terms of the grant. So they kept that hidden. And their letter from NIH follows 2 weeks after the agency director, Francis Collins, announced his resignation. So, why would you just resign slightly in advance of this? Well, because you think this is going to get sticky, that's why. And there's been an investigation launched into this research. And so this all seems to tie together with the EcoHealth Alliance. And so just very briefly, Rory has done an amazing piece of reporting on what is the EcoHealth Alliance and who is Peter Daszak. This is really, really good, and we'll leave it linked in the description because this is pretty much about as far as we're going to be able to go with this. But just to summarize this, he talks about Daszak's delegitimization campaign, China's early censorship, Daszak's research in cooperation with Fauci, whether this is a natural genome or not, Chinese lab leak theory and the WHO's fact-finding mission and how this lab leak theory has gone mainstream, and then the position of questioning the science. To question the scientist is to attack the science. Basically, what he does is show the connection between Daszak and Fauci, and Daszak weaponizing the Lancet Journal. Do you remember that?
I don't.
Right, so the Lancet Journal is a prestigious medical journal, one of the oldest, I think, very well regarded, and we got a set of Daszak's emails where he was speaking to Fauci, saying, "Thank you for defending me publicly." A set of Daszak's emails obtained by Freedom of Information activist group Us Right to Know revealed that he had drafted the Lancet statement and urged his colleagues at EcoHealth Alliance to sign and circulate it amongst eminent scientists. So he was deliberately leveraging the institutional reputation of the Lancet in order to defend himself. And if we go to the next one, you can see this is just a picture of Daszak and Fauci hanging out in 2016. They've known each other for a while. They've been colleagues.
I'm just trying to think of the right insults here.
Yeah, Fauci's been funneling money to his organization for a while, and his money has been funneling money. His organization has been funneling money to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. I can't remember the name of the bat coronavirus lady, but this particular doctor there. And they were apparently funding gain-of-function research there as admitted by the NIH.
He's a criminal, in effect.
Yeah, he's definitely violated the terms of the grant. Fauci definitely lied to Congress about this. Rand Paul was definitely right about Fauci. And this is where, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll have to navigate down to the description and watch the rest of the podcast on lotuseaters.com. For people who do that, the timestamp you'll want is about 45 minutes in. Because we're going to be getting into territory now that gets a bit close to YouTube's editorial guidelines, and we, of course, don't want to cause any trouble. So we'll see you over there.
If you enjoyed that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full thing at 1 p.m. every weekday at lotuseaters.com, or you can sign up to get access to all the premium content we have on the site.
Yeah, we've got loads of really good stuff. Every week we have a Contemplations and Epochs episode that goes up, and in the Contemplations we talk about just interesting things, and the Epochs episodes are probably my favourite because I love talking about history. This latest one is we're doing a bit of a series on the 100 Years' War and why England kept winning. And we've not finished it yet, and you're going to really enjoy the end of that one. But we've also got other excellent episodes that we do, like the book club. The most recent one was Shooting an Elephant by George Orwell. This was about his time in Burma as a colonial officer, and when he was tasked with the shooting of a rampaging elephant. And it's really, really interesting what the circumstance of the thing was. But we also have lots of other content, such as premium articles, which have audio tracks on them for our silver and gold subscribers. And we do premium podcasts about things that we don't really feel that we can put on YouTube or have done a particularly large amount of research into. And so it's worth keeping them slightly more private. And we also do lots of very interesting interviews, such as this one with comedian Steve Hughes, which was really fascinating because I didn't expect him to be a philosopher. But anyway.
Yeah. Also, the last thing to mention is the live event content we have. So we occasionally, when we get around to it, doing our live events, and the videos from them are on the website as premium, of course, because people came to see and paid. So go and check that out. This is on the worst of critical race theory.
Yes.
And I do mean the worst.
It's unconscionable.
Yeah. So if you'd like access to all that premium content, go to lotuseaters.com and subscribe. Thank you and goodbye.